What's going on, guys? Matt Schaeffer back here from Musaic Design. Have a different type of video series here that we're going to do. Generally, you only see the finished product. A few years back, we bought a Tesla Model 3 as a demo car. Over the past few years, we've been working on it when we've had some time. So I've been sitting on a lot of footage of going through the process of doing the physical work to the car. So first and foremost, you're going to see the video of us bringing in the car. We are going to break down the thought process. So generally when I get a client's car in, I'll bring it in and start getting ideas of how I want to integrate the equipment in based on the amount of space that I have. So you're going to see that thought process, see the ideas rolling around in my head, and you're going to see where we go, like what is in my mind when I start a car. So with this car, we're going to bring it in, break it down, strip it down, do a bunch of sound treatment, which I'll show you the physical, some of the mundane work that you generally never see the behind the scenes of in the second video. Again, first video is going to be a breakdown of the physical job, what I want to do, the product, the ideas, and what we want to execute, and the goals for the project. Second video is going to be a breakdown on doing some of the behind the scenes stuff, the sound treatment, the speakers, some of the stuff that we're doing on the laser, some of that behind the scenes work. And then third video is obviously going to be the walkthrough of the video. Our Tesla has probably been completed for, I'd say, about a year now. Fantastic, love it, love how it turned out. Couldn't have went any better in my opinion. Love the design, how it all worked out. So obviously stay along on the journey for all three videos, that way you can see everything from start to finish. So I just want to also take this time out to thank our sponsors for the build, which would be Focal, Moscone, Black Hole, which would be through Orca. We had Sound Shield, thank you very much Brian and John. We also had Excess Power for the supplemental power of this Model 3. So thank you to them. And I think that's really everyone. So without further ado, here's the first segment of our Part 3 series. Enjoy. So this is your layout here in the trunk. From the factory, you have that cover there that hides the storage area down here. So on this particular car, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have our batteries here at the bottom in this tub, and I think I'm going to have two batteries. And then as far as the amps go, I foresee the amps being on the floor going from side to side. And then I kind of want to see the subs hover in an enclosure over the amplifier. So picture a gap here between the amplifiers and the subwoofers, and then the subs would actually be mounted to this upper brace here. It's kind of what's going on in my head, some lighting, visual, things like that. We'll see how it comes out in the end. As far as the DSP and some of the other stuff can be mounted behind that panel where the factory subwoofer enclosure is. This area here, possibly some circuit breakers and fuses for accessibility, serviceability, things like that. So the next step here is to gut this whole car and sound treat everything, run all our wires. So that's exactly what we're going to get to right now. So looking at the system layout, this would be the rear deck. We have one big grill here. You can see some fours there. It's the BMW style four, so it's a drop-in with the Focal integration BMW speaker. So we're going to use that for the rear. We're going to actually pull this down. You see how that is completely solid. If we cut that opening, it will expose the grill, and it's going to allow air to move from the inside of the trunk to relieve the pressure into the inside of the vehicle. So I've done these before. We're lucky we got the Tesla with this grill here, and you've seen in the past sometimes I physically make this grill and press it into the factory panel, but in this case we're just going to cut out that lower part of the metal, and we're going to use that area there as our pass-through, so the seats don't have to be folded down or anything like that. It's going to relieve a lot of pressure in the trunk, therefore reducing the resonance potential here in the trunk. Again, we talked about the rear speakers. We're going to do some Focal integration, BMW plug and plays, and then we're going to put the tweeters here into the rear door into this location. For the front stage, again, I've done these a lot. We're going to do the 8-inch Utopia mid-base here in the door, and then we're going to build a sail panel. I'm thinking more than just a factory-looking one. I think we're going to do something pretty cool here for the TBM Focal Utopia M tweeters. So we'll build an extension of this that might come over a little bit more. Now, as far as the pillars go, the factory mid-range is right there. It has a center channel there in the center. And what we like to do is we like to kick these out a bit, and then we put the mid-range there in the pillar. What that does is it gets the mid-range on access to the driver, therefore helping with reflections and the overall imaging result. The tweeters being in the sail panel is the widest part of your car. It's the widest part of the mirror, so that's going to give you the widest staging. So that's why we are going to have the tweeters here. Now, as far as sound treatment, we're gonna take up all of the interior panels. As you can see here, we're basically gonna gut this whole interior, sound treat everything with some hush mat, layer over it with some sound shield acoustic treatment, and we're gonna cover the entire floor, the door panels behind all of these door sills. Again, this is kind of something that we do on most projects because resonance control is gonna give you the potential to get the most out of your equipment. Most cars are going to have all of their own limitations when it comes to resonance. You know, you can put as much sound treatment as you want on something, but at the end of the day, there's things behind the dash and other places that are just very, very hard to control. So we're going to do our best to be able to maximize what we can get out of these speakers. Here in the center, we're going to have our Astel & Kern SP2000. We'll probably end up making something here for the unit to sit. This can actually play in landscape mode. It's called car mode, so you can see it in this aspect to give you a little bit more screen access. And then we're going to do our radar and laser system. So on this one, I'm not sure if I'm going to build a little extension here. That's probably what I'll do. I'll have a little extension here for our AL priority LED and our Escort display, and then skin it in that smoked acrylic so it looks like it's an extension of the radio MCU display. Possibly I might put the AL priority LED back here in the vent, and that's just to alert you again if you're getting hit by a laser, and it's going to show you the status of the system. So it doesn't have to be in here. I've often put it with the physical display of the radar system a lot of times, but might also put it there. So again, all of these ideas when I start a project are just kind of floating through my head, trying to come up with a idea of where the audio equipment is going to go. That way I can have a guideline of how to prepare for the job. So this is a look of our equipment layout for the most part. It's missing a few things because things still need to be delivered. But we have our black hole tile that's going to go in the door to help with the sound treatment. Of course, we have our sound shield. And again, a lot of this stuff was donated by these manufacturers. Good relationship with these guys, Brian Schmidt and John Schwartz. They have Sound Shield, which is basically an acoustic foam mat. So it's really good for floorboards, a lot of flat panels. It's good to use behind kick panels, door sills, all the plastic to add that mass to it to really dampen those vibrations running through those thin, flimsy panels. So we're going to be using that throughout the vehicle. We have our AL priority. That's going to be our best system for laser defense. And then we have Escort Max CI, and that's our preferred radar solution for these radar and laser defense systems. We have our Focal Utopia M, which again was donated by Focal. So we're going to be using the Focal Utopia M8s, the mid-range, and the TBM tweeters. Now we have Mosconi DSP 8-12 Aero, we have our RCD controller, and then we have our Mosconi amplifier. So we're going to have two 110s, which is going to power each Focal Utopia M10 that's not pictured. And then hopefully we can use the new 430, which they're coming out with, which is a more powerful 4-channel Class A amplifier in the Pro Series. And then we're going to have a Pico 2 powering, or maybe a Pico 4 powering the rear's active. But yeah, that's kind of the full breakdown of the system here. Again, not pictured are the two Utopia M10 10-inch subwoofers. We have our Mosconi AMAS for Bluetooth streaming. And then we have our 9000 series Stinger RCAs. And again, more sound shields. So we're going to plan on first stripping down the entire interior and sound treating the entire car. Next one is going to be where we strip the car fully, sound treat everything, do a lot of the labor, do a lot of the fabrication. So stick around, check out part 2.
Until next time, peace.